live.
Day 7 and we're alive still.
We are alive and we are still alive.
We're still alive, which is good.
Thank God we're
So
still
good.
alive. And today, even like a minute earlier, at least on my clock,
I know.
like 1 minute to 3.
Good. So
Yeah.
I
So
thought,
hi, Shireen. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. How was your webinar yesterday?
You're not going to believe this. I was all dolled, ready, waiting, and it's tonight.
It's tonight, isn't it? Because I am in the group as well, and I thought like, huh? Did the group get it wrong? Okay, so you got the days mixed up.
I got the days. Well, everything seems to be mixed up. So this is interesting. And how, when you say you're on the group, are you going to be in? Are you going to be speaking tonight?
No, I'm in the WhatsApp group, aren't I? In the Daxi WhatsApp group.
All right.
And
yes.
that's where the message was sent to spread the news, share the link for the webinar tonight. Yeah. Well, I'm certainly not going to be on the panel. I mean, only that I know that this is the future, the crypto, I certainly cannot speak about it. Yeah. I'm a novice. I'm a child with a beginner's mind what crypto is concerned.
Yes, it's going to be. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that are new, that are starting or have been doing a lot of crypto work. And then there's, people like me or older that are sort of nearly from the start, really, of Daxi. So yeah, it'll be interesting to just see everyone again. That'll be so nice because I haven't seen a lot of them. So yeah,
please share the link. Tonight. Maybe there are other people who want to join and to watch the webinar.
Yes, we can.
It's open to everybody, isn't it? To the whole public.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to invest in the new money.
Or just educate themselves, because I don't have no money at all to invest. But I'm certainly open to educate myself and to learn about it, because as it stands, even with very little amounts, we can build quite a significant wealth if we stay put and educate ourselves.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is that you can't really lose much. I mean, the thing is, you're paying the bank now to look after your money.
Yeah,
literally, the bank is not paying any interest. So yeah, what's the point of having it there? At least you can get more interest doing it through cryptocurrencies. At least there's some money coming. If you just want to use it as a bank account. And if you're going to do that, then decide, is that the way you want to hold things? I mean, a lot of people are making a huge amount of money. Just, obviously they've got more money in the crypto. But even I have only put a small amount in. When I say a small amount, I have put, obviously a little bit more than you, but, I've made like seven grand. So just on pretty much doing very little. I haven't really gone the whole way of just really doing that, and that's what I will be doing in the next year, definitely. And this year, starting to do more and more is just really focusing in on making this a part of a full-time business. Right now, my coaching business is very much part of what I do, and this is what we're doing. But I think that it's a very useful way, because the struggles that we experience with money and have experienced with money, other women have.
Oh yes, of course.
Absolutely have. And and it is that money belief, that belief gap that comes into play whenever money comes, and particularly hard, I think, for women. I think it's harder. Definitely, we tend to have a lot more emotional pull on our general body. In fact, that's where I was writing today a little bit about, where we are so connected between our mind and our body and both sides of the brain, that we experience, when we feel kind of scared, we really experience this embodied feeling. But conversely, when we feel love, we feel this total body feeling too. So, there's a blessing, and there's also not, there's also a little bit of a challenge that comes with it. So, yeah. And that's why I'm quite interested in money and women, particularly what goes on. Yeah, that fear, that sort of primordial fear that kicks in.
Yeah, because we usually responsible for families, and
Exactly.
like I'm a single mother. Like obviously I'm emotionally attached. If I lose even that little money which I have, obviously it's attached to like, oh my God, how can I look after my son and stuff? So
yeah. And I think what I want to stress, it is a real physical, because of the way we are made. There is a very definite physical connection that's there. So, we have much more estrogen receptors sitting in our limbic region of our brain, which means that we experience emotion much, much, much more intently. But not only that, is that estrogen, because we're predominantly estrogen, that makes neural connections between the brain and the body far more. So we've got a lot more somatized body connections that have receptors in the brain in comparison to men.
Okay.
Yeah. So men don't experience that same visceral feeling that we may experience, and I know this sounds really weird, but literally, part of me, I remember when my partner was feeling, there was something that I could feel like he was feeling this, what I'd say, my whole stomach and everything just drops out kind of fear. And what he just says is, well, actually, I just feel my balls are being cut off. So basically, that was where the fear was located for them, in the root. But for women, it's really the solar plexus, the creative thing just goes like that.
Yeah.
And so it's because the brain, or the thinking, the mental part of the brain, the left-sided part of the brain, is more responsive to testosterone. And testosterone actively stops a lot of the growing to the sensory organs in the body. So there's growth, obviously there's some, and you can grow them if you practice with them. If kids learn to be more emotional, more balanced, then boys can get to be more. But I'm sure you've noticed your son probably is more in comparison to girls, how he might actually be able to shrug off things more. Yeah.
Well, it depends.
Or not.
You have
Yeah,
to
I said
be careful
might.
because we also have got both like masculine and feminine within us. Like it's interesting when you say that, but my son is highly sensitive.
Yeah.
I would not say that he is very good in shrug things off, and yeah, and I think we both have got it, like the masculine and the feminine. So it's not always just so clear cut.
Oh, no. Yeah. I understand that. And what I'm saying is that often, and if you think you brought your son up quite differently from most people, yeah, and you have a different kind of learning. But what I'm saying is that in actual fact, if you actually look at how when you look at particular studies, you often will find, yes, there's a social compartment, but often there is a biological reason why that things happen, and depends along the spectrum you're born, whether you have, that's why gender is so debated now. In actual fact, people are saying there's not just two genders, there's more. But I think it's because we're along the spectrum now more, because we've got more estrogen in the water, we've got more things going on, and also with the new children, they are more balanced. There is less problems happening at birth, and we're more loving to them, and so therefore they're more able to experience and grow those neurons. Yeah.
Well, I perceive it like we're already in the midst of the energies of the Beregini of the teacher.
Oh, right.
This is why it had to be actually tonight, the webinar, not yesterday. So, it's about teaching, like the new form of financing, crypto, new forms of bringing up children, and so should we welcome the the Beregini of the teacher, which
Let's
is
bring
very
her in.
exciting because we open today the third circle. The third circle of the next 3 Bereginis.
And it's the 3rd of December, 3 of the 12.
There we go again. Yeah, and today this is the teacher. Looks like a cute bird.
Beautiful.
Of the Prav word. You might have noticed already, we always start with the Prav word, the upper world, divine world, which is always just red. And she stands for consciousness. The affirmation is, I receive wisdom.
Wait. You can say it while we do it.
Okay.
All right.
I receive wisdom and knowledge from the divine world. You can use the symbol to help while learning or when there are any kind of learning difficulties, and to recognize illusions, which is a follow-up from yesterday. Like my main message was looking to illusions where we can turn curses into blessings.
Yes.
Oh. Nice little bird of consciousness.
Beautiful.
So
let's just put it in.
And let's invite in
So we have the prayer.
the Beregini as a teacher of higher consciousness. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May all beings remain free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings remain connected to sacred joy and happiness that is totally free from sorrow. May all beings come to rest in feeling of security and peace. May all beings be happy, content, and fulfilled. So be it. And it just comes to me, this whole prayer is a reflection of this higher consciousness.
It is.
And if we're in this frame of mind, then we truly receive these divine messages and wisdom.
It does take a consciousness to do that, because that's not necessarily always our standard consciousness, is it?
No, not at all. And if I'm honest and I catch myself throughout the day, more often than not, we are outside of the divine consciousness. We are in the everyday tasks and responsibilities, worries, and what is going on in everyday life. So it takes conscious effort. That's why we sometimes have to go into stillness or like really meditate or do something conscious, like creating a sacred space like we do here for 1 hour, to shift the consciousness and to come into the present, to feel the divine. How's the divine expressing to us at this moment? So that's why I think it's always so important to do that intentionally.
Yeah, and I think when it is when how nice and peaceful it is, the moment we do come back to ourselves, the moment we just take a moment to just think in a space and allow whatever to come in, not necessarily rush that much. Yeah, I think it makes a big difference in just that few minutes of stopping.
Yes, I'm, for example, feel totally different now. So the prayer, consciously inviting in the teacher, I feel totally different while before.
Yeah, and I'm aware, I'm just focusing. I know I'm seeing you, but I'm also looking at your red Tara over there. And she's kind of really bringing herself to my attention right now. Really beautiful. And yeah, it's kind of like she's saying, I'm watching, I'm observing. Yeah. As you do this work. Yeah.
That's nice. Of course, she has got the raven, which is my name, Beregini. Going to be like on Saturday. We're meeting the wise one, which is depicted as the raven.
Yeah. So the colors that came up on the, if you can see there, I can see them. So there's blue, some purple, green. This sort of looks more greenish, and some gold on this side. So yeah, I mean, blues are the colors of speaking, which is really the color of the teacher very often. You know, information comes up through our mouth to the world. Obviously the green is still the heart color, and the iridescent blue on the top, I'm thinking, is there are, when we go to the upper layers beyond the earth, you start to get a few different layers. You get a magenta layer, you get a very pearl aquamarine layer, and you get a whole lot. And yeah, I'm wondering if those are reflecting some of those layers as we focus on a higher and even higher kind of intention.
I think they look exactly like your pullover, like your jumper.
Oh, they are very similar to the color of my pullover. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to give it a balance. I'm going to balance it. So balance the frequency, balance the energy at where we are. Let's just see what it might sound like. So what it'll do is look for different resonances. So it may look through a whole lot of resonances that are the solfeggio ones, and it will pick the ones that have the highest level, and which means the highest level in energy medicine. You would activate all the areas that are higher in energy because they've got the most potential to shift. And there's the hope that when you are activating the high levels, the lower levels will automatically raise up, which is like we were talking in conversation yesterday, when you have a discussion with someone who's vibrating at a very high level. Often we feel the energy as that's there. Yeah. So that's kind of what the essence of what the genius is doing. Oh, my light is going on and off. It's one of those ones. I don't know why it's been doing what it's doing, but hey, I may have to go back to the old one. I drew the Empress today. Yeah. So
alchemy.
Is that okay? Can you see it?
The sun and the moon, or?
The sun and the moon, yeah. And the blue and the red.
Is that the king and the queen?
Yes, I think it is the king and the queen, the sun king and more of the water queen.
What does it say on the top, like the title of the card?
It's called the Royal Pair.
Oh, wow, how nice. Again, like yesterday, I sent Odin and his wife Frigg came up to me in connection with the rune Wunjo, and they are sharing, like, they're one of the very few figures I know who equally sit and share the throne. So she on the left, he's on the right with his two ravens. They're ravens again. Hugin and Munin. And they're totally equal. And of course, Frigg is the weaver. She is also the one, so fate weaver.
Yeah. And certainly here you can see that they're both the same height. Yeah. So they're definitely not one is higher than the other in station. And they're you know, the moon is the reflection of the sun in a way, but it's an indirect reflection. So there's essence in the fact of how they each have to, in a way, they each have to shine in their own way, and they make accommodation for each other to shine. So that's why you see the moon at night in the darkness rather than during the day. So that's and as the Empress in the Rider-Waite is basically it's the woman that sits on her throne, and she is able to give generously. And in here, yeah. So is there anything else that you see that you would?
Yeah, I like that they look at each other.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of intimacy between them, like a true co-creation. What I cannot see is what are they holding in their hands?
I don't know, but what I'm attracted to is this looks like a serpent here.
Yes, it does.
Doesn't it? It looks
and
like
also in her hand, she's holding something which looks
I think they're a scroll or a ribbon, but it so looks like a serpent.
Yes.
To me. So yeah, from that angle, I'm thinking, you know, when the idea of water modulates fire, and fire is modulated. Water modulates fire, and fire heats water. So you have that that balance of the perfect state in the body. Yeah.
And I like that they are like the right colors, actually. That the queen is in blue and the king is in red, because it gets mixed up nowadays in the fashion industry. That's exactly the other way around.
Yeah.
Which is not true, because this is much more like relevant, like the water elements, the woman, the moon, and the man is the sun and the light.
Yeah, that's yes, because women are normally dressed in pink, aren't they?
Yeah.
And boys are normally dressed in blue. Yeah, traditionally, not so much now, but in general, actually, they still seem to prefer to go for those colors.
Well, it's still very prominent. I mean,
is it
now my brother is expecting a baby, and even with my son, like when we were shopping, it's still all like very much like shelf and put in shelves. The boys all in blue, and the girls all like in pink.
Yeah.
Or red, like then later on, like.
So this one is basically, it says here in this particular book, it says you've got I'm the artisan of the luminous intelligence in which the fundamental ideas of holiness are prepared. Dear alchemist, let your preparation make you a vessel of serenity and poise, like the Empress and her unborn child. Her inward eyes see the universal way to unite wisdom and understanding, the zodiac Saturn, in the four worlds. My alchemy opens the door to a brilliant oneness of new life. Your newborn particular truths will be hers, individual beloved offspring of all creation. I'm the alchemical promise. As the white queen, I stand upon the earth and water, blessed by the silver moon. As a rent king, I stand upon the fire and air, blessed by the golden sun. In my beautifully patterned mandalas shine all the potential of the imageal as joyful wedding day between above and below. Like the Renaissance art of the Emanatio, I am the vision by which to educate subconscious, become the vision, co-create all illuminations of the harmony woven world.
Well, there we have got like this twin ray, which we mentioned before.
Yes.
When the feminine and masculine come like in true co-creation, the birth, the divine child, which is this highest consciousness, incorporating
Yeah.
12 dimensions and codes, birthing the new DNA. And this is exactly this card.
Yes, it is the card of birthing the new DNA. Yes. So it would have the yin and the yang together, because that's part of it. And the third strand would be the new being.
Yes. And then through co-creation, like yin and yang, and
yeah,
and equally in their own powers. No need to suppress the other. Very nice. Wow.
Nice card.
Very nice. And of course, those are the teachers of the future.
Yes. Yes, they will be.
Also, the new partnerships are like that, isn't it? When we come together in partnerships, like Barbara Max Sabat used to say, as wholemates, everybody
wholemates.
In their own whole selves. That's how we birth the new Humo Amor. That's what she used to call it, or human universalis, like the new earth. Let's see what the oracle says. The corn.
The corn.
Well, this is a card which truly represents abundance.
It does, doesn't it? Mm.
A field of corn. It's enough for everyone. Just go out there and help yourself, because nature has got more than enough for everybody. Number 10.
Completion in the Torah. Yeah. And yeah, because as you take, then it goes to seed, doesn't it?
Yes, like everything in nature goes to seed
back.
again. And this is like harvest. Like it's like that zenith, like the highest point, like where you just can really just take in as much as you want before it returns back to nature to be seeded for the next year to the soil. Even though we have got almost Christmas. It still brings out lots of abundance. There are many ways of harvesting what we have seeded. And the rune for today is Sovelo.
Sovelo.
The sun rune.
And we've got the sun in the Torah picture. Yeah.
And we have got the sun here, because only with lots of
on the
sun
top,
here,
yes, you can see the sun. Yeah.
we have got a great harvest. It's also a soul rune, like that our life purpose is really like showing itself, and we can already harvest the fruits. It truly is like the sunlight is shining upon us on our life's path and gives us lots of energy, life force energy.
Yeah. And it's incredible. We've got 3 suns now. So Sovelo, we've got that sun, we've got the sun in here shining. Yeah, very interesting.
And of course, I have to think of the first Beregini, my goddess, my very first one was also of the sun, bringing in lots of light.
Beautiful.
Shining our glorious selves. Yeah. And I like it that it's here now equivalent also with the man part, like the masculine is already here. Like, nice. Because of course, we cannot harvest anything also with the dark energy.
No.
Like without the moon, there would also be no sun. I mean, we need both energies.
Yeah. Yeah, you need both the dark and the light. You need, things evolved to grow in the dark, because a baby grows in the dark, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's not in the light, but it's nearly in the light, and it's made of light, and it's just coming a light when it is birthed.
Well, and with Christmas coming up, it's all about the baby being born in the darkest night of the year.
Yeah.
And of course, Jesus Christ is the best example for bringing the light, like the new divine consciousness. And I think that's what it is. I mean, it's a symbology. I never thought that this is like a real person. For me, it's really like this consciousness, like of the ascended masters, like I mentioned on the rune wheel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the last stage. I show it again here. The ascended masters, like the elves or Buddha, Martin Luther King, Gandhi. I mean, there were many illuminated, personified creatures on earth, and Jesus Christ is certainly one of them. But when I speak about the return of the Christ, at least the way I interpret it is like this highest divine consciousness birthed within all of us, because we all have got the masculine and the feminine. And if we do receive this divine consciousness, what also today's Beregini brings, we are birthing it within ourselves. So it's a revolution, and the air is in brackets. It's an evolution of ourselves, because that's how we evolve.
Yeah.
Once it's united and we birth it within ourselves, of course, if everybody around the earth is doing it, then that's how we birth this new earth into existence.
Yeah, when there's a critical mass, it's got to shift. It's like the 100 monkey syndrome, isn't it? The more people that are there, the more the mass will happen.
Yes.
I mean, you think about someone like Gandhi, the way he shifted and changed a consciousness was absolutely, amazing. So it just requires enough people to do that.
Yes.
And things will shift exponentially.
Exactly. And they say like usually around 10% is a significant mass where revolutions happen. I've also got this great book by Michael Caldwell. I don't know if you know it, The Tipping Point, it's called.
Yeah, you've talked about it. Yes. No, I haven't actually read it. No.
And that's how he exactly speaks about how revolutions happen, a major transformation like the Industrial Revolution, the French Revolution, like all kind of revolutions. You need a critical mass, like about 10%, and then it shifts. So it's definitely exciting. And all what we can do, I think, is really focus on ourselves, that we are in our lives experience more and more moments like this, like of oneness. It's like about the unity consciousness. And if we experience more and more often, it becomes more like an everyday kind of life, then it just happens automatically on the outside as well. Because since there is no time and space, if enough people are in this consciousness, it just automatically vibrates on the outside.
I mean that's what we were talking earlier about, the idea that how when we're in a company of somebody that has this kind of higher vibration, how it is so easy to raise your own vibration, because their vibration is high, and it draws you higher.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And we're doing it with the Beregini symbols. For me, that drew me definitely higher. They helped me to build sacred spaces, to feel this higher vibration within myself. And it feels embodied. Because it's one thing, like you say, we are sometimes in the presence of people, or I certainly visit lots of seminars or met a lot of great people where you feel like really, wow, you're top of the world.
They're amazing, yeah.
Recharged, and then you get home in your everyday life, and it happens so quickly that you're no longer in this energy, which teaches me every time I can only just start with me every day anew, or every moment as an invitation. Okay, what can I do now to bring myself into this divine consciousness? And I'm so grateful that I found embroidery or creativity in general, which automatically brings me into this creative higher vibration. It happens very quickly, or like when I dance. And we can do it right now here. Or go for a walk.
Yes, walking in nature is really beautiful for creating high vibration.
Yes, because everything is nature, like the corn can reminds us. Everything is there. I just noticed that this bird isn't on this side, and automatically started to embroider this bird the other way.
On the other side. Ah.
Yeah.
Yesterday it's so interesting that this corn has come up, because yesterday, I ran out of cotton while I was going through, and I thought I had enough, and I kind of went back in, and I had another little piece, and I thought, here I am trying to finish and try and squeeze every last bit of the cotton out. Why am I doing that? I have enough. I have enough. And that's really what the abundance is about, isn't it? You have enough. And to be able to just go, cut the damn thing, or stop here and just go and get another piece. You don't need to finish it right to the very, very end. So that was a real revelation, a bit of insight about myself that was useful. And it was a real practical application on how to see abundance, in a moment by moment, in something like this, which, everything is how you are is showing in every movement you're doing. Yeah. Isn't it crazy? But it's true.
That's so true. That's so true. Every moment, really.
Yeah, every moment we're living that pattern. And so if we just take time to stop and say, oh, what am I doing this time? Like you stopped there and said, oh, I just noticed I've automatically done that without really noticing, but somewhere it's giving you a signal or a bit of information which probably you hadn't had in conscious awareness.
And all those birds are so rich because I think they require the most stitches. Like, not all of them. There are other symbols, from I remember. There are also lots of stitches, like the courageous one.
Yeah.
It's also one of my main Bereginis. But the birds certainly are also all three. So rich on stitches. Now I've just got the outskirts. This time I did it like you did it yesterday. I did the outside first.
All right. Okay.
And then I fill it in with cross stitches. The teacher. Any kind of insights the teacher is bringing to you at the moment?
What she was reminding me is to pay attention to that moment and really be aware of it and to savor it. Is what she was reminding me of. To really let the information sink in. So give time, don't rush to the next moment. Give yourself that moment to really hear what it is that, and then think about how are you going to do that in your life? How are you going to, oh dear. How are you going to create that in your life? Just pull something out there by accident. So you watched that webinar last night. What came up for
Christoph
you?
Love?
Yeah.
It was very long. It was 2.5 hours webinar. And it was mainly all about crypto.
All right.
So speaking of teaching, it's about the new teaching of crypto and how to invest in crypto and how this is definitely going to be the new form of financing, offering us new freedom, because in that way, instead of relying on big banks, we will going to be all in charge of our own money. I'm sure you're going to like it since you're also involved with crypto. And he was offering a program where he's offering his own circle, like wealth consciousness circle.
Right.
But I switched off there. Like the last half an hour or so, I switched off there. I didn't listen to the offer, like, because I don't plan to join yet another circle.
Yeah.
So for anyone who is not really aware what is going on with this big reset and shift, which is already happening, and the pandemic has been brought up actually purposefully, yeah. So to gain a bigger consciousness what is going on behind the scenes, it's quite a good webinar, and it's packed with lots of information. And I perceive him certainly as, speaking of the teacher, being this new teacher, like he's got a very high frequency, and the way, like, he was just sitting there drinking a white tea, which I would love to find out more what kind of tea that is, but you only just said white tea. Yeah, like very high vibrating person. Definitely worth to watch.
Watch, yeah.
And I think it's going to be very important to choose wisely who is going to be our network or our tribe in the future. Because in order to become a very free, sovereign human being, because only like that can we go through life from our highest vibration.
Yeah.
It's going to be very important who we surround ourselves with, who are our teachers. Because we cannot do it by ourselves. We need teachers in our tribe where everybody shares their own gifts. We are all unique. But we have to choose wisely who we surround ourselves with.
Yes, and it really is about always looking at what is all the bits of how do people ethically and sustainably live their lives, and how are they following their own teaching. Yeah. So how are they walking their own talk?
Exactly. And I'm currently ever so busy, like you know, I'm creating this intercultural calendar.
Yeah.
Which I used to do for my previous job. I was employed for 2 years for an intercultural NGO. And I was responsible to do the intercultural calendar, like online, digital, but also like in pocket size, like here it is.
A lot of work.
From last year, like this. Look, that's what I created last year. And yeah, this little NGO is in the process of probably dissolving itself, so they cannot pay me for it. But so much of my heart went into this because one of my values is because I'm so multicultural. I mean, my son is like 5 cultures kids. I'm like 4 cultures being. My ex-husband is Moroccan, is a world citizen as well. I mean, he speaks like 6 languages fluently.
Wow.
So in our family, this is just the most common thing, this multiculturalism. So I feel, even though I'm no longer employed for them and I'm probably not gonna get the money for them, I still feel it's important to do this kind of calendar. And I plan to self-publish it on Amazon.
Yeah.
So lots of work goes into it, but I feel this is also part of this rainbow beings, bringing all the colors and our gifts and share it with the world, and having this integral view of all different important dates, festivities. Yeah, this is for me also like bringing together many different threads, and create a form to see the sacredness of it, like to be remembered by it. And it's very important. So it's quite complex, like incorporating all those different festivities and days around the world, and there's so many different religions, and but I think this like diversity is also very important, and to value the diversity.
Yeah, to see that in everybody and appreciate it, because we all have this beautiful, unique gift of which we all are.
Yes, absolutely. And we forget. A lot of times
we forget so quickly. Yeah. Okay.
And the symbolism of mandalas was brought up by some. And I also love the beauty of mandalas, because it also incorporates so many different symbols and layers in it, in the mandala.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what we've been doing, that in essence, the first lot were basically mandalas, just very simple ones, weren't they?
Yeah, they really look like mandalas, don't they? I was not aware about that until somebody mentioned it. Like, and now that it has been mentioned, brought into the field, they really look like it. And we add to those mandalas with our own creations and shared wisdom. It's like those are living mandalas.
They are.
Whereas with those birds, it's a different energy, isn't it? It's
much lighter for me. There's a flow which is different.
And it's so open.
Because and of course birds are able to counteract gravity. So they can be anywhere.
Can fly anywhere.
Yeah.
So they can shapeshift. They are really like, they can be on the ground and fly both, like.
Yeah.
And combine below and above. Got such a lightness to it. I think for me it will be a hummingbird. I will do a long nose.
Drinking of its nectar.
Yes.
Because the ones tomorrow remind me of cockerels.
Cockerels?
Yeah.
I would need to look it up. I don't even know what it means. Cockerels.
Male hens, male chickens.
Oh, male chickens.
Although it's not the case, but
I've already got them here. To me, they really look like, yeah, it could be, yeah.
all in plumage, you know, puffed up, ready for doing things, creating.
Seductress. The seductress.
Exactly.
Well, this is for the physical world. Today it's more still like this the wine world, and got this pure energy.
Mm. I'm just getting the sense of, I suppose the thing that really comes to my mind here is very much about, you know, live as though you have enough.
Live as if you have enough.
Live as though you have enough.
Live as though you have enough. Like the koan card.
Yeah, live as though you have enough. It's what I'm kind of hearing as a message for today.
Live as if you have enough. For me, it is like this. It will be a hummingbird, or it is a hummingbird, even though it doesn't look like it yet. And it's like cost your nectar. Cost the nectar.
Nectar.
Yeah.
Eating, drinking sweet, beautiful honey.
Don't
sugar water.
Yeah, don't forget to cost the divine nectar. Or drink from it. Drink from divine nectar. And share it with others, like the hummingbird. This long nose. And yeah, and we have already got an hour.
I know.
We arrived at our hour already. Should we have a look at the resonance?
Yes, let's have a look and see what it has said. Let's go back to the aura. I'm curious because we've been very calm, so the energy is a very calm energy, so that's what I expected. So there, kind of there. So can you see?
I don't see very much difference to the beginning. It's still very blue.
No, it's not. It's gold and it's blue at the bottom. This is kind of goldish over here. and it's blue over here. It's quite hard because of the light, and because of what happens is that it can't really take a picture because of the color on the screen. But actually, in actual fact, it's more golden. So it's gold all around here, and it's blue at the bottom, and it's light up here. So it feels like it's more of a golden energy. I wonder if I can move it this way so you can see it more. Can you see? See, it looks blue, but it's not. It's actually more gold and very light, silvery color sort of around here.
But I cannot see the gold, but it reminds me of tasting the nectar. So
yes, exactly. Nectar is gold. Yes.
Taste the nectar.
Well, you'll see the picture when it comes up on when I send it.
Yeah,
it'll be there. Yeah. And it looks right because when the first one that came in felt more balanced in the sense of just being in a physical heart. This feels now to be more like a pureness of it, that when you have a look at the picture, when you see it later, it feels like there's a different raised frequency, more a quality of pureness added to it, an essence of something. I suppose I'm thinking frankincense as I think this, because frankincense is often seen as frankincense is amber color, isn't it? Often sort of goldy color when you think of the raw frankincense, the resin.
I've never seen it raw. I don't know how.
I think it looks almost like it's crystalline. It looks like a rock. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the purity came up earlier on as well with the bird, the hummingbird, light, pure bird.
Yeah.
Nice. So
I used to love when I lived in the bush. I used to wake up at like 5 o'clock every morning and go and drink some coffee with my gran and my dad. And we would have this, you would just look outside the window, and the ground, I promise you, was just like, you couldn't see the ground. You just saw the birds the whole way up in the garden, because they're the trees that obviously release seeds or whatever. And it was just totally covered. There must have been about 3,000 or 4,000 birds there. Just amazing number of seed-eating birds. Yeah. Wow. It was amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I got to see a lot of birds.
And all different birds?
Very different. Yeah. A lot of different birds. Yeah. Well, Africa has a lot of birds. And most of them there were a lot of different kinds of doves, but there were also, like we have the weaver bird. I don't know if you've ever heard of the weaver bird, but we have weaver birds. There were wagtails. There were all kinds of birds. A lot of the African birds, you still have a similar lot that I hear, but they were all there. My favorite ones used to be the ones that used to have a blue breast. I really used to love those ones. Beautiful blue breast and sort of brown back, but blue breast. I loved those birds. They were just so sweet. Yeah, very, very
sweet. Maybe you can send us a picture. I would like to see this bird. And also the weaver bird, which is like very much.
Well, the weaver birds are amazing.
Because we are like in a Weaving Wealth women group. And so I would love to see the picture of a weaver bird.
The weaver birds are amazing. They're yellow and black, and they weave their nest in a particular way over water. So the snakes can't get to them. Oh, wow. But over the water as they come in. And Andrew and I one time spent a whole weekend just watching. Basically, we'd stayed at this place called Mount Grace in South Africa, and we didn't do much. We sat and watched the weaver birds making their nests, because it was so interesting how they could actually, they literally weave the nest. It's pretty spectacular. Yeah.
I like to see the picture.
All right, I'll get those pictures and put them up for you.
And maybe a description of where we can look up like how they weave the nets, because that seems to be relevant to our weaving group, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Shireen.
And thank
So
you.
today I wish you again another very informative webinar. It's at 8 p.m. UK time, 9
This
p.m.
time I'll arrive.
So I will
think I
watch
had
it
the right
today as
date.
well. I'm looking forward to watch it.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure learning a lot by all of you inspirational women in this webinar.
I think that, I mean, some of them are amazing, absolutely amazing. Well, all of them are amazing, not just some of them. All of them are amazing.
Yes, I think so too. All of, and you.
I mean, I
You
think
are
they're
one
very
of them.
gifted. Pardon?
And you are one of them.
Yes, I'll count myself as amazing. So yeah, they are amazingly gifted women, seriously gifted, and you know, really driven, which is nice to see that they are focusing and working in a man's world. But actually, crypto is more feminine in nature because it's more energy, isn't it? It's more about the intangible.
Mm.
So that's what I quite love about it, because it has a completely different feel to the physicality of money, and yet is exactly the same, but just different in another medium. Yeah. So thank you,
See you
Erica.
tonight in the webinar.
Yeah, I'll see
And
you.
everybody else a great rest of the day. And until we see each other again tomorrow.
Yes, and looking forward. There were some beautiful Bereginis yesterday, weren't there?
Yeah, like every day, everything was shared.
I mean, amazing. Well, I think I don't know how they can get any better. They just are so amazing. Stunning.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to yours with the honeybird. I want to see what it's going to look like.
I look forward to all of them.
I know. I look at them and I think just how amazing how amazingly creative everybody is, and how everyone is being called to do their one differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so beautiful to have that.
Yes.
Yeah, and feel quite blessed. Yeah.
Yes, me too. Blessed by all your creations and
Yes,
this magnitude of this energy, because it's then multiplied.
yeah,
This energy of this different Bereginis, and it feels quite potent. Yeah, that's how we raise our vibration.
exactly.
It's one way to do that, and so that's why we feel so blessed to do that together.
Yeah. Right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. See you tonight in the
See everybody
webinar.
else
Well, at
tomorrow.
least I will not see you, but I will be there in the field.
We'll be in the field. We are there in essence. There's a double somewhere. In Carlos Castaneda, they talk about having your double that can be physically with someone, almost in presence. So there we are.
Well, in this book, about Siberian shamanism entering the circle, it's also about the double, which is another name for your soul.
Yeah.
Your twin is your soul. So.
Right. So the same. So yeah, this one is a Spanish one, but isn't it interesting? They're using the same word.
Yes, it doesn't surprise me at all, because a lot of ancient wisdom, speaking about symbolism that I focus on, and there are lots of similarities. If you look at the different symbolism from around the world, that still reference the same things, like the sun, the moon, the different cycle of nature. The tree of life is depicted in all ancient traditions. Yeah, so it's a different expressions, but coming from one source. Yeah.
Exactly. So we are all one.
Definitely.
One soul, absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, I need to go.
So
I'm going
see you tomorrow, and see you today in the fields of the crypto women.
Take care. All right.
Bye for now.
There's my bird. There, I've done mine. So I'm going to finish her in a minute.
Well, I'm not finished yet.
Oh, I'm
only halfway through, and I feel into its development.
Yes.
It's weaving, still weaving.
Yeah. She's going to be beautiful. Take care.
I'm sure it will, like all our creations. Bye bye.
Bye.
Many blessings.
All right then.
Lagadaru.
Bye bye. Bye bye.